Well, good evening. Welcome back to Mill. My name's Bill. This is Power Solutions Forestry, and I wanted to give you a little update on the sawmill equipment shed. Um, kind of wasted half my day having to go down to the bank and switch over all our accounts. And for those of you who haven't followed around, we got robbed for $5,000 on a scammer out of Ohio. We're in Massachusetts, and they actually made themselves a check. They printed out a check. They created it on their own with our account number, routing number on it, and a check number, and the name of our bank. It's all fake. And they made themselves the payee and the payer. And they went down to the bank and cashed it for $4,860 or something like that to their bank, which was not our bank. So their bank didn't catch it because everything looked legit to their bank, and they signed it and put their phone number on it and the whole 9 yards. And so we spent the whole day or the whole morning with that, having to go to the police station, fill out a police report, and looks like we got our money back. The fraud department credited us back the money, and they put it in a new account for us. So now we're in the process of switching over all our automatic withdrawals and stuff like that. But anyway, I got back from that and came out here to spend a little time out today, just working on the shed, and I'll show you what I got done. I'll take you over on the tripod. So hold on. That's a Nathan thing. So if you guys watched the other night, I did finish milling off the rest of that white pine log. This is all I have left. There's like 14 boards here, and these are all right around 12 footers, and I also have some 14 footers sitting over there. The problem is that none of the dimensions work out great. There's going to be some waste. I'm using the waste as I go, and there's no real good way about it unless you just, pull down a perfect size log. That one's almost 10, and mill it just for a specific purpose. However, it just never works out that way. But anyway, it's 1-inch boards, and we're doing board and batten. So here's the front, and I'm working my way up the sides. I'm actually, because it was all, see if I can get in here to where you can see well. And I want to explain a couple things, because there's a couple things that are non-conventional about this. But basically what I'm doing is I'm cutting my angles to come right up under my fly rafters. I left my fly rafters at 2x4 instead of 2x6, so that I had some nail base up there on the rafter itself to tie it all together. So you can see it's tied into the rafter, and then tied into the top plate, and then tied into the bottom plate, and then tied into the base itself on the bottom, which ties the whole structure together. And what I'm doing right now is, well, what I was doing before I quit today, is that I'm cutting mirror image pieces front and back. And that works as we go along until we get to that window. You see, I got like one more piece, and then I'll be to that window. And then that's going to stop working. But I was cutting exactly the same piece back there and putting it in here, and the dimensions work out great. One thing that I did decide to do, if you look up in here, all my boards, my 1-inch boards, are nailed tight to the rafters into the top plate. And I did that for a reason. Normally you would put your soffit in first here, and then you run these up to the bottom of your soffit. However, I wanted to tie the top plate and the bottom plate and the base all together. So what I did was I ran all these up tight to the rafter, nailed them into the top plate, nailed them into my blocking in the center, nailed them into the bottom plate, and then nailed them into the base itself. and that ties the whole structure together with mega shear strength because they're nails. They'll never shear apart top to bottom. And then when I put my soffit in here, I will put I'll come off the bottom of my rafter tails plumb across, and I'll put a board across there, or maybe sections of a board. It doesn't need to be continuous. And then stuff my soffit up in there. I will do that all with screws, so that if I ever had to replace one of these boards, it would be simple to just unscrew the soffit, pull it out, pull the board out. Typically, you would put your soffit in first and then run your boards up to it. But the problem with doing that is I would have had to run, if you look from the inside, an entire whole row of blocking to nail into up along the top there, below where the soffit's going to be, that I could nail my boards into, and then I wouldn't be tying my top plate into my bottom plates and my base. So I decided to do it this way. There are going to be a few workarounds. There's going to be, if you look up in this corner here, there's going to be some workarounds here to finish the soffit edge. I will run rake trim, back up a little bit. I'll run rake trim down and use that. I'll have to back it up on that rafter to make it solid. And then when I do my corner post, my inside corner post will go up to that. My inside corner trim will go up to that, and we'll have to work into the soffit. And I haven't exactly worked out how I'm going to do that yet, but it will come out clean looking regardless. Another thing that I got another workaround here is that on my 5-degree angle down sill here, I forgot to cut these at 5 degrees. So I'll actually come in here with an angle grinder and grind this edge off so that this end grain is lower than the sill here, because the window is going to sit back here and open. And I need this to be a straight down angle all the way across, and I will have to flash it somehow. I have some copper inside that I think I can do it with, and I'll do it with something, but you can see that I cut an actual little lip here, and I'll just cover this so that it comes all the way across and that these are at the same angle, so that any water that hits the window comes down and hits this. You don't want it to run behind these boards, you just want it to sheet right off. So I'll grind that out and make that so it works. I will trim out the window, trim out the door, then I'll do my battens later. You can see that I had to leave a gap there, but that's going to be covered by a batten anyway. All my nails are out at the edge of every board, so they'll be covered by the battens. You won't see any of them later. And we're coming around to, obviously, hopefully I can make one more board work here. That's 2, 4. It's going to be just about a 6. Actually, it's going to work out pretty close, but I need to get all the way over to the edge of this. So I'm either going to have to cut a small board and a small board and then cut around the window, something like that. But you know, when you're doing board and batten, that's minor. You're doing it on the fly. If you look at well, like you can see right there, that lip cut on this one is done on the fly. This one over here, to cover, I had to cut that lip and rip it all the way down, and that's just done on the fly with a circular saw. But I have to make some decisions about how I'm going to finish out, because I have like 14 boards over there, and because of the length of those boards, I think I should use them on the back. So I think what I'm going to do is finish this back wall with those, because it'll be the least amount of waste. And Well, I'm not sure yet. It actually wouldn't be the least amount of waste. It would be, what the least amount of waste would be to mill that log out into boards to do the back wall, and then use these until they stop. Eventually, as you keep running up that rake, those boards will stop working, and then go to the longer boards and use some of those up. You can see what the waste looks like. There's no real good way to do it, but you know, I've got all these scrap pieces lying around as I'm cutting out here. And short of me planning better, and I do apologize, I'm off of mics tonight, but you know, short of me planning better and actually just cutting logs that would work for the dimension, so far it's going pretty good. You know, I do need to mill battens anyway, but I kind of wanted to mill battens out of what I had left over lying around, throw them up on the mill and edge them off. Or, you know, I can cut enough boards out of that one white pine sitting right there to finish the back, and then mill a bunch of battens out of that as well. Or I mill that all into boards at some dimension that works, because I think my battens are going to be 2 inches. If I got, see a scrap sitting over here. So this is 2 inches wide right here. And I think, I'll just set this in place right now, but I think my battens will end up being something like that. See if I can get it sitting there in place and I can back up and see it. So I think my battens will be something like that. 2 inches wide, I think will work perfect. It should. I will have to look if they're going to cover the nails. So just looking at those two nails, it's pretty damn close. It covers there. I might go to 3-inch battens, just if I can just take this 2-inch one around and try and just center it up and make sure that it covers the nails. And it pretty much does. Then I'm not sure on my corner trim yet. My corner trim will be bigger than 2 inches, so I don't have to worry about that nail. But that's pretty much where we are. I do want to get this thing enclosed and roofed this week before Saturday. I can definitely finish rough sheathing the whole thing tomorrow. I mean, with no problem. And I think I could do that with what I have. It's just going to be, I think it's going to be a lot of waste if I don't mill that log. So there's a possibility that I'll come out, mill that log early, and then I can take that log right there and just do the back wall with it, and then use up what's left here and the longer boards to finish the rakes out. I have had to leave, well, I've wanted to leave my bracing in, because what ends up happening with the siding here is the siding ends up becoming structural. And that's kind of the whole method to the madness here, is that this siding is 1 inch thick and structural. So it's completely nailed off, top plate to bottom plate, and it is going to resist all racking and shear that you don't get when it's not there. It's similar to plywooding it, however, you would have plywood plus sheeting on the outside. This is just a one size fits all total system. So that's what's going on. I'll give you a look from the inside. This is all my little blocking setup. I still have to block out the middle of this back wall here. You see my little lines. That's so that the board and batten can get nailed off in the center, like you see those blocks there, and that block there, and that block there. That's so the board and batten can get nailed off in the center. And so far so good. It's going to tie it all together. It's going to make this structure super, super strong. All with wood that we have here on site, and all with wood that we've milled. Nothing purchased. Screws and nails that I've had lying around. I did buy an extra box of 3 1/4 the other day, but overall it's stuff that we have lying around. And hopefully we can get this thing wrapped up, because all my stuff out here that's lying around the table over there, it'll all go inside, and my water and my fuel and my bands and my sharpening equipment will all end up inside this shed. And it'll actually kind of be a neat little piece out in the backyard here, kind of stuffed away the way it is next to this maple off to the side here. It's going to be a pretty neat addition to the yard. Oh, see if we can find Danny. Danny, come! Danny's off doing something here. Let's see if we can go find Danny. Oh, there he is. Here he comes. Hi, buddy. Danny's walking around the 16-foot 4x6 spruce beams here that I actually chainsaw milled these years ago. And a few of them made it and a few of them didn't. And I had them kind of stickered or bunked back there in the woods, and some of them are nice and sound and some of them aren't so sound. So too bad on those things. Hopefully someday somebody will want some kind of 4x6 mantle, or I'll just cut them up for firewood. These are just old chainsaw milled stuff that we did. And yeah, if you can kind of see how it fits in there, it kind of fits in the space really well. And we'll get all the windows and everything done, and it's going to be a cool thing. So this has kind of been something that's been on the burner for a long time that I needed. And we'll get it knocked out, and at least it's helped to take my mind off getting robbed. Oh, look at him. Look at how handsome he is. Look at how handsome he is. Hi, handsome dog. Protecting the yard. And whatever we end up with for scraps and stuff will all go in our campwood bin. Our campwood bin's really rocking right now. But all this stuff over here will all get cut up and put in the campwood bin. Stuff that I don't use for the shed. And the yard's really kind of starting to empty out. I did my slab delivery on Sunday, so as you can see on this bunk right here, all those pine slabs are gone. The bunk that was sitting in front of it, that was right here, that's got a bunch of barn board on it, clear barn board for a customer, I moved that over into the staging area that's down in the woods. That's in the shade around the corner up there. So if you look at those logs and take a left, it's down in there. I would definitely have enough barn board to finish this whole thing if I use that up, but this guy's got to come and get it. So that's what it looks like, and eventually we'll build a door. We'll stick the windows in, and I will find a small wood stove for this thing to keep it warm in the wintertime, burning scraps just like what we have sitting around here on the ground. I mean, I'll take a whole bunch of this stuff and cut it up into little 16-inch pieces and stick it in a cardboard box like that right there, and stick it in the corner, and have wood in there that's nice and dry to fire up in the morning to get, to warm it up. But it's going to look really cool when it's done. It's been a good little project. And after that, we're going to go on to a kiln. So sitting on this hill right here with south exposure is going to be a kiln and a greenhouse on the side of it. And that's going to be going in next. So I will use up as much as I can of what I have lying around without changing the look of the thing. You know, I've got a lot of 1-inch material lying around that I can use that's just older. And, you know, like stuff that's sitting over here. I could use it on the back side if I wanted. Eventually it's all going to gray out just like what you see there. I mean, what you see on here. So it's all going to gray out eventually. But in the beginning now, I kind of want it to look new. So I'm kind of using new stuff. But that's that's where we're at. I am saving a bunch of white oak here. My friend Craig, Timber Frame Craig, the window and door maker extraordinaire to the stars, who, if you're the Kennedys or some rich people with an old house and you need to have windows restored the way they were, this is the guy that you call. He's very, very talented. He's come and taken all this white oak that's sitting here, except for one board I'm keeping for a customer. It's the one on the bottom here. I need this 9-inch wide one for a customer. But all this white oak that's sitting here, he's going to take all that out of here so it's not sitting around on the ground. And he uses it for projects in his windows and doors and hopefully in his timber frame. I got a couple other pieces of white oak sitting here too that I'll probably give him. And we are going to end up with all this stuff that's here going bye-bye, so that I can put in a retaining wall here and push this whole area flat for the kiln. So that's what's up. It's getting dark out. It's nice, beautiful weather. You know, we went from having frost and cold to almost 70 degrees today. Danny, where'd you go? Danny, where'd that dog go? He's just right here. Danny, come on. We're going to get back inside and waiting for Kate to come home, and hopefully we'll take it one day at a time, and hopefully I'll shoot another video tomorrow and be some more progress on this thing. Probably a milling video, because I will be milling that white pine right there, I believe. It'll take me about maybe 15-20 minutes to mill that thing out into boards and start putting them on that thing. Oh, there he is. There he is. He blends right in with the wood. He's the same color. Total mill dog. So just wanted to give you guys an update. I'm sorry I'm off mics, but you know, hopefully you can hear me. And one of the next projects too is I got to get my splitting station out of here. I have to finish splitting what's there for the winter and for the campwood bin out front, which is just rocking right now. And then the splitter is going to end up going over by the slab pile over here so that I can start cutting the slab pile up into firewood. Eventually I'm going to chip a bunch of it, and eventually my log guy is going to come take a bunch of it for himself. But we'll set the splitter up over here, and then I'll just go in there with a chainsaw one day, cut a whole bunch of 16-inch pieces, split them all, load the Bobcat bucket, throw it in the campwood bin, throw it in my firewood bin for this year. And got to get ahead on firewood. I also got to get this whole area cleaned up now that it's starting to get buried again. And that stuff can all get cut and split up too. So never-ending process, but I want to give you guys an update, and hopefully you can see. It's getting pretty dark out. And let me know what you think. You know, give me a shout and keep up on the project with me, and we will, you know, let you know how it goes. So that stuff's all going tomorrow, and probably the majority of that stuff. And then I got to cut a shit pile of 1-inch material just like this for my timber frame customer who's doing a timber frame right now. So as fast as I cut it and think I have some for him, you know, he's not coming and getting it, and it's going on the shed. So that's it, and hope you guys are having a great night. Hopefully I'm gonna get some sleep tonight, because I was up 3/4 of the night last night worrying about this stupid getting robbed thing, and thinking about details on soffits. And for now, from Danny and myself, it's Power Solutions out.